Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Actually, I'm feeling a lot better. I got some really good sleep last night, even after waking up a little bit this morning and going back to sleep. I feel so much better. Yeah, I needed to let go of a lot of things, and yeah, I was able to, with having the clear head, and my confidence back and so forth. I took a look at my resumes, one that I threw together the other night for the interview that wound up being canceled because of the snow. That one, and I also took a look again at my design resume. Really, no changes with the first one, but the second one, yeah, there's really nothing that I need to change. Just a little minor things here and there. So that's good. So yeah, that felt really, really good. I was just like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. It's just a matter of doing a rebrand. I'm going to have to anyway because of all my files are lost. So yeah, do a rebrand, build some new portfolio pieces, really showcase my skills, my talent, my creativity, and so forth, and go from there. So yeah, and I was a little concerned. I'm looking at Little Miss down there at the foot of the bed. Let's see if I can turn around. See if you guys can see her. There she is. Yep. See, she all nice, cozy, toasty, warm. Nice and cozy. She's like, what are you doing, Mom? But, yeah, I was a little worried about her last night when I came upstairs after eating dinner, cleaning out the kitchen. Unfortunately, she had a lot of drainage in her eyes, and she was being very clingy. She felt a little warm, and she hadn't eaten anything all day except her Frisky treats, of course. That's when I really know that she's not feeling good. If she doesn't eat her Frisky treats, yeah, then we know that we got a bit of an issue. But it's still yet, I was a little worried about her. But I just got ready for bed, curled up, and let her cuddle up with me and so forth. And she she cuddled up with me for a while, and then I remember waking up. I think it was about an hour later, or something like that, and I kept having low sugars too. So I kind of wonder if maybe that was playing into things. And this is after I ate dinner. It's like, okay. I really didn't take much in the way of insulin, but I think it was a combination of not eating that much in the way of carbs. And then I did my dinner shot along with my, what do you call it, the Lantus, both at the same time, and yep, just sunk me. And I was having issues with trying to get my sugars back up. So anyway, but yeah, I think that was also playing into how she was kind of acting last night too. But the fact that she didn't eat all day, she didn't have her breakfast or anything, it's like, yeah, I was a little worried about her, especially with her being warm, and then she had all sorts of drainage from her eyes. I'm like, oh. I mean, I did clean a little bit, and the vacuum had some like smelly stuff, but neither of us are used to. So I kind of wonder if maybe that was playing into things a little bit as well, at least with her allergies. But she's feeling a lot better this morning, so that's good. And I love how she's made herself a little bed there at the foot of the bed, kind of straddling between the bed and the window ledge there, so she just lays there looking out the window all night, looking at things, watching the cars go by and the people and watching the birdies and so forth. So, and I did have the window open a little bit yesterday too with smudging. So I kind of think that a little bit of everything kind of fit in together. But yeah, I was just like, oh please, no, especially with all the premonitions I've been getting. I'm like, I hope that it's not what it has been in the past with all the premonitions with something kind of negative significant coming up or whatever. And losing her, I was a little worried about that because, of course, I don't have the money to take her to a vet, and definitely would not have the money for a pancreatitis flare-up. So she did good. She's doing good. She's such a pretty girl. Yes, she is. She's just giving me a look like, would you stop talking about me? She must know. So, but yeah, I'm very, very happy, very proud of her. I was just like, fight it, fight it. I just kept telling her, fight it. But she did, and she's been active and getting lovins and pettings and kisses and huggings. She's like, yeah, I don't like that when you mention those words. Like, ooh, I know. I keep telling her that, and she's also been playing. It's been very active and so forth. And when I had, at one point, I don't remember, sometime this morning, I heard her go down there and eat food. It's like, yes, yes. But yeah, I know. I keep telling her that if she had her own children, she'd be doing the same thing with all the kisses and huggings and lovins and all that sort of stuff. She's just like, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mention it, and she turns her head. No, I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all say that as and then the minute we become parents, we just, all our children. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We turn into our parents. The minute we become parents, we turn into our parents. Mm-hmm. I know how it goes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I'm very happy. I didn't do my yoga yesterday. I know I had said that I was going to. I'm very happy I didn't. I'm very happy I didn't go for my walk. I'm glad that I did the card reading. I'm glad I took opportunity to hash things out and so forth. It felt really good, figuring things out. I figure out, what it is, because that's the thing that I've been torn about, all that, in a way, all that history with Vegas, all of that, it has, it's of course, good and bad, just pretty much like every place else. But, and yet there's things that I loved about Vegas, especially the natural environment, all that desert beauty, the desert sunrises and sunsets and so forth, the wildlife and everything. But there's things I didn't like about Vegas. I didn't care for, of course, the egos, the vanity, but there was that sense of community too. I don't know, kind of that toss-up, big town, small atmosphere, but a lot of that has changed over the years. Yeah, you still find it, but it has changed quite a bit, especially with sports teams coming in. It was still there when the Knights came in because of everything that happened with the shooting and so forth. But now it's just, yeah, it's changed quite a bit, unfortunately. And personally, I have missed being in small town. I spent my first years in a small town, a small resort town in Michigan. I was born, I don't want to say it was a big city. They think that they're a big city, but yeah, no, far from it. But no, I mean, it's a small city. Not much changes or anything. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time there, even though my father's family was /is there. But I spent my first years in a small resort town where we only had like a couple thousand people, maybe 3,000 people, something like that. I'm not entirely too sure what the population was. And then once the summer months hit with all the festivals and so forth, my mom was a big player with helping with organizing, actually brainchild behind a lot of them and so forth. And even though a lot of other people take credit, there are people around who are just like, no, that was your mom. They tell me that right out. But anyway, but yeah, that's how I spent. Anyway, like I was saying, when all that would flare up for the summer months and everything, our population would just explode to the point where there was no parking on the streets, and we were selling parking spots for like $10 a night, especially when fireworks would be going off or whatever. People would be scrambling trying to find parking, so we would open up the backyard to parking, make a little bit extra money. And everybody did it, so it was no big deal because there was no parking. It was such a small town, had one traffic light, that sort of thing. And even it wasn't an actual traffic light; it was one that just sat there and flashed. Didn't even have the red, green, yellow. It just had the red light up there flashing. I don't even know if it's still there. I'd like to take a trip over there. It sounds so close. At some point when I get a car and check out my old stomping grounds. But anyway, yeah. That's really where I spent my first years. And moving down south, moved to a bigger city. Obviously, it was definitely bigger. And then, of course, I spent most of my life there, southeast corner of Virginia, which is definitely more metropolitan. Not too far from D.C. and so forth. So, and then, of course, Vegas. So, but I have, but even with being there in Virginia, yeah, I spent the first years, like 9-10 years, something like that, I spent in Virginia Beach. That's where I graduated. But I moved over to Portsmouth, where they had a little under 100,000 people, and I missed that. I don't mind. I've missed historic, especially that kind of historic, where I lived in 2 of the original 13 colonies. Portsmouth was a colonial town. I think it was founded in, 1752 or something like that. I knew it was like, I can't remember, 1751, 52, something like that anyway. So, by, what was his name? Colonel Crawford. That's right. And that is basically the day that he went up to the colonial capital at that time, which was Williamsburg, and had the contract signed by the colonial governor. And it was basically a profit venture for him. Didn't pan out to be very profitable for him. But, we still had some of the colonial buildings still. Like I knew somebody who owned the original Mercantile. And at some point over the centuries, it was converted over to a home, but I had opportunity to go inside and everything. But it's that sort of history that I've missed for a good many years with living out there, and I have longed to come back to. So, but yeah, I lived modern for all these years, basically, for the last 20 years. Constant change, constantly, seeing old buildings being torn down, new ones being put up. Not that big of a fan of it, don't get me wrong, I don't mind change and everything, but with what the direction, everybody, perfect example, back when, before the recession hit, they were tearing down buildings, like the old boardwalk. Never got a chance to go inside it to see. I realized it's probably no big deal or whatever, but it was just kind of like, it was neat, There's the big clown face out front. If you haven't ever seen pictures of it. Google some pictures of the Boardwalk Hotel Casino in Vegas. It's pretty cool, really. But and it had this fake roller coaster. It was supposed to, I guess, represent like Coney Island or something like that. It's supposed to represent that. I never got a chance to go in. I would have liked to have seen it. I'm sure it was probably nothing more than slot machines and poker tables, but just the nostalgia or whatever. But yeah, that and the Maverick helicopters. They used to have their helicopter pad right there next door. Plus, there were some small little strip malls with souvenir shops. I did go in those during my walks, but all that was wiped out to put in City Center. And that was the trend at that time, was to start building these huge condo tower complexes, basically turn the resorts that we had seen into these condo complexes where where you had one hotel casino, on-site shopping, and then you had these tall condo towers. That was going to be the trend. And everybody was just like, oh, yeah, that, but what was funny is that the trend was partly year-round residents, but mostly what they were trying to sell was them being more timeshare-ish. Okay, it's the only way I could think to describe it, where you paid for somebody to maintain the property for you, and they would get people to come in and stay there for like a night or two or whatever, basically tourists, conventioners, and so on and so forth. And then when you were ready to come in, you would, take your property back or whatever. But that was the trend that was trying to get rolling there on the Strip at that time. And I kept warning people, don't do it, because we're coming into a housing market crash. And of course, people were just like, oh no, the salespeople, they say that, this is, and it's, everything's fine, so on and so forth. And I'm like, listen to what you just said. The salesperson, of course they're going to tell you that, because they're trying to make the sale. Hello. Use your brain, but that's the problem. Most people who come into Vegas leave their brains at home. So, but yeah, that was, and of course, it panned out. So, then in the process, we lose history. And, yeah. And of course, same thing's happening still with the loss of the Tropicana. Oh, we're going to build this big baseball park for a failing baseball team. You didn't learn from the Raiders? Hello? Yeah, okay, whatever. Raiders don't bring in that much revenue. That's the thing. Everybody keeps talking about, oh, it's going to bring in jobs and this and that. What jobs? That's what I'm still trying to figure out. What jobs were created? Oh, okay. Some part-time jobs for when an event actually happens at these places. Otherwise, they sit empty most of the year, with the exception of a few concerts. I don't get it. I still don't. Where are all the jobs that were supposed to be created? None. Whatever. Oh, well, more jobs are going to be needed because of all the people who are coming in. So more positions are going to be needed at the hotels, all the sports places. There's going to sell the sports paraphernalia. People look at the sports towns and what happens to them. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Anyway, and of course, it's all panning out. But now, just no, it has changed, and I'm more. I don't want to say because more with getting older or anything. It's just or wanting to feel settled or whatever. It really has nothing to do with that. It's just it's lost its appeal. Yeah, there's a lot of good energy. There's that youthful energy and so forth, which can be intoxicating. It really can. But at the same point, it's also exhausting. And that's a high that I'm finding myself I'm having to be coming down from. And going to take time because I lived on that high for 20 years. And it's, yeah, and I had to find other outlets for it. So yesterday, with everything, oh, I know, I have, my nose is a little itchy. I had to rethink things. It's like, coming here and like seeing how they live and so forth, like with the quilts everywhere, they're all handmade. Angie made them. Basically the boho lifestyle, more or less, and everything laid back. They're telling me, especially Rick, telling me that he has his vegetable garden, and their daughter, she wants to start an herb garden and everything, and I'm just like, this is the sort of life that I've been wanting. Work a job, that pays really good money, have a house, have a yard instead of a plot of sand, where you can grow things and do sewing, have my canning jars for all of my stuff, all of my cooking stuff and, my flours and sugars and so forth and, and just... and have 4 seasons, and have that relaxing life, have the creative job, and yeah, that's what I've been wanting, and yet I was resisting it. It's like I'm finally, and that's why I was saying, with that Nine of Cups card, that's the one that was hanging over the reading yesterday. Yeah. Because I'm resisting it, and I know that. And that's what I had to do. I had to come to terms with, I needed to embrace that. Not come to terms with it, but embrace it, And I've enjoyed seeing the snow. I know a friend of mine, I posted a picture, it was this pine tree covered in snow. And he was just like, I just posted on my Facebook and said, beautiful. And he was just like, no, it's not, it's disgusting. And he's posting a picture of basically setting from where I just came from, only with water. Okay, yeah, that's beautiful and everything. But I've lived it for the last 20 years. Especially palm trees. I don't care for palm trees. I never have. And now I don't dislike them even more because I found out that scorpions like to nest in them. But now it's like, yeah, whatever. I've never been into palm trees. I like these kinds of trees where you get the fall colors. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing spring. Yeah, but I'm not in any hurry for any of it either. I'm enjoying the more laid back. I'm enjoying the snow. I'm enjoying the cold air, actually. I breathe a lot better, but it's not even just that. It's just nice, and having just I don't want to say it's nice, a nice change of pace or anything. It's just nice, And it's like I go to the stores and so forth, and everybody's just all, like they're really super busy. I'm like, people, this is nothing. We'll see what happens if I'm able to get that. I really got my fingers crossed with that interview on Tuesday. But we'll see what happens. But I'm glad that I've had this opportunity too, where I can sort through all of this so I can prepare better for that interview and also get things rolling with my resume for a graphic design job. I know I keep getting to things with the lifestyle change coach. I really wouldn't mind going down that path. I really, really wouldn't, because I'm sure I'm probably going to get bored or whatever with doing the other. Or maybe, it could be a nice side hustle or whatever. I'm not worried about any of it. I would like to learn yoga, whether I become a teacher or not. I wouldn't mind going for that certification, at least with the online school that I had seen. I really wouldn't mind it, but it's more for me to learn. Also, Tai Chi. I would really like to learn the Tai Chi, but more for me. If I want to, I could see about doing that on the side or something. But yeah, just for me. Do all of that and have my garden and so forth. Would be nice. Nice laid back lifestyle. Instead of the rat race that I've been, when I was young, okay, yeah, I wanted to spread my wings. Well, I did it. And I have had a very adventurous life. I have no regrets about anything. I really don't. I have lived the life that I dreamt of at that time, when I was younger. But now it's time for me to live the life that I'm dreaming of now. As I keep saying, I've done my bit for King and Country. Literally. I've saved lives. I lived the life of the spy game and so forth. Literally. Okay? I don't say that because of things I did in Vegas. No, it has nothing to do with that. I'm talking about before I moved out to Vegas. Yeah, I did. I had that adventure, basically, and tasted it even more living out there, having my life put on the line all the time with the work that I was doing and so forth. I've walked that line between light and dark. I've seen the dark quite a lot. I'm ready to live some light and be happy and satisfied knowing that I have lived a good life. I've done the things that I've wanted to do. Now it's time for me to retire and live that kind of life. And I can still help people here and there or whatever, but also be accepting of the fact that they gotta figure their own shit out too. And yeah, it's time. And that's what I've had to embrace. Let it go. And I had to ask myself, how badly do you want this life? And the answer was pretty badly. And it's like, all right, let's go for it. That's what I'm doing. And I was able to sleep well last night because of it. And I love it. Sleep better anyway. Happy I did it. So, somebody looks like they're coming over to say hello. Oh, big stretchies for such a little girl. Yeah, there she is. I know she's just such a pretty baby. Yeah, such a pretty baby. Of course, now she's going to walk on my bladder. And it's making me have to go pee even that much more. You come over here, you're going to get all kinds of ovens, whether you like it or not. She's like, Mommy. So, anywho, let's do this. Today I was thinking, because actually kids are off for spring break next week. So, and I know Sean, their son, likes to be on the computer a lot. And I like to try and work around him as much as possible, because it helps him with things. So I figure while they're off from school next week, I can be taking my design resume, type it all up into Google Drive on my account here on my devices, and then all I have to do is copy paste, because I'm going to have to make it all pretty anyway. After all, If you're a graphic designer, you have to be creative. So I figure I can do that, and I can continue. I started brainstorming some logo ideas yesterday, at least in my head, and I kept getting headaches. So I'm going to continue working on those over the course of the next week as well. And then when they go back to school, I can see about jumping on the computer. I still am. There's that settlement. I'm in hopes that when the 9th comes around, they're going to be like, oh, nobody is contesting their amounts. Yeah, right. I have no idea how many participants there are with it or anything, but I got my fingers crossed that maybe we can start seeing some distributions or whatever at that point. And maybe I can see about getting my own computer. That would be nice, but we'll see. So, but yeah, it's kind of where I'm at with everything. And I would really, or at least if that doesn't happen, the way I look at it is that will come when it's supposed to come. But as far as the job next week, I'm in hopes that if I am able to secure that, maybe I can start throwing some money towards buying a computer or something. We'll see what happens. So, and then I can keep moving forward. I'm not in any hurry. Yeah, I very much would like to have a design job, but at the same point, I'm more going with the flow. Going with the flow. When it happens, it happens. If I'm supposed to be, wherever it is I'm supposed to land is where I'm supposed to land. So, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Yeah, right. She's so beautiful. She looks so much better. So much better. She just keeps itching. Stop it. Stop. You're going to tear yourself apart. Yeah. You're going to tear yourself apart. She's like, but Mom, I itch. Because you're nervous. Chill out. Relax. That would be a good idea. The only problem is I'm a little low on money. I was just thinking these one things that you plug in to the outlets and they let out pheromones or whatever that helps with them to relax. But she just needs to relax. But the starter kits for those can be a bit. Now she's biting me. It can be a bit expensive. I only got $45, and I still have to buy her food, and somehow or another I had to be able to buy my sensors. So yeah. By the way, please send money. Everybody, please make donations. I realize just $5, okay? That $5 can go very, very far. It can help buy her some food. Ow! All right. I'll talk to y'all later. I love you guys. See ya.